Sounds like it went pretty well. My guest pipes up as I'm preparing our coffee, seeming unable to wait until we're both seated. I pass a steaming fragrant cup to Yagaki-kun. You won. I didn't want to win, I just didn't want to lose. It's subtle, but there's a difference. It's very profound. Just what one would expect from the president of the Council of Nicaea, right, Shirahane? Suoh nods agreement as she savours her own cup of coffee. So you're able to bury the hatchet without revealing the identity of the real werewolf of Bell Tower. It was a bumpy road, but I made it through. No suspension's been lifted too. That's great. I know she genuinely means it. She's such a wonderful underclassman. This brings out good news delivered to Chidori and Fez. He kept banging on about how they wanted to come hear the results too. I wouldn't have actually minded if we brought him along. We figured it looked suspicious we all rushed over here right away, so here as representatives. Take a sip of my own coffee. A bitter, astringent liquid spreads across my tongue, full of tension of what was permeating my body being brought down a notch. May not be my favourite beverage, but it's perfect for unwinding. I don't mean to interrupt your chill-out session, but there's one thing I want to ask you. What's that? It's kind of annoying that Suoh-san seems to have sussed it while out I haven't. But who was a real perpetrator? Looking obviously flustered, Suoh-kun's about to jump in, but Yagaki-kun cuts her off. Don't try and deceive her, Fro. It's like I'm going to spread it around. Just pissing me off not knowing you know when I don't. Can't help but chuckle at the frank words. Yatsuro-senpai. We can tell her. She can contribute to a valuable service to a cause after all. As I speak, I'm already mentally running through our best to explain. First things first. The culprit I revealed in Isnik was my own fabrication. Similarly, there's a real culprit out there who's fabricated a werewolf story. Get into sour bingo, but I didn't make use of the 7 mysteries. Realised the truth when it occurred to me that the footprints under the chapel were a red herring. So how do the footprints lead me to work out a real culprit? What made me realise the footprints were a red herring? There was a need to erase them. And there was an animal being fed. But if I'm right and it was Ichigo, she would easily be able to wearing her shoes. The evidence that leads me to believe the person who made up the Werewolf of Bell Tower story was none other than... And who made up the Werewolf of Bell Tower? By putting together pieces, I saved the taste of a cup in my tongue. When I was going over details of Neri to get my thoughts in order, there was one part that bugged me. The footprints in front of a chapel. You said the culprit erased them, right? Yes. First I thought they'd erase them after assaulting Ringo because they didn't want to leave behind any evidence. However, there was no need to erase the footprints in the first place. Oh, I see. Right. Every student wears the same standard academy-issued shoes. So long as you don't have particularly large feet, or an obvious gait, there is no reason to erase them. What about the raccoon's prints? If one concealed its existence, then... So there was never any raccoons in the woods to begin with. The Dome of a Kadabama is really drawn out the short end of a sticker. Realisation of my ruse draws her on, and a feline smile curves across her features. She's kind-hearted. Seems like she felt really bad at keeping quiet about the cause of Wendigo rumours. So was also happy to go along with my request to say she'd be feeding the animal this time. You're quite a scoundrel. There was no raccoon, which means the story of Sasaki startled into hurting herself. Yep, a bold-faced lie. She bears her feline fangs in a grin. Looks like she's figured it out too. Once I realised there was no need to erase the footprints, I was able to pick up on a few more inconsistencies. Ringo never even went to a chapel. Figured it out from her shoes. Bingo. On the night of the incident, took a look at Ringo's shoes. Both were covered in mud. Anything about that strike you as odd? My audience had already worked it out, but I still go on to remind Ringo into the right foot. She supposedly dragged her foot behind her as she returned to her home. The mud would inevitably be concentrated in one area. And yet, both shoes, right and left, had an evening covering of mud and mush on the soles. So his attempt to create an alibi backfired. I think things probably went down something like this. Ringo did indeed sprain her ankle. Nurse examined her and diagnosed it. Since there's no big commotion, it probably happened in a room. Go on to suggest that since Ringo's bunk is on top, perhaps she slipped as she was coming down the ladder. That's where her sister devised the plan. Yeah. She suggested they put on a little play, taking advantage of the injury in order to garner sympathy from those who had ostracised her. I didn't actually expect that outcome. So I told the story she'd gone to a chapel early, attacked by the werewolf. Of course, there's no footprints, there was never even there in the first place. They've probably already taken into account that I'd be worried when she didn't turn up at our meeting and would come by her room and then showed me her injured right leg and the tail of the attack. The rest was already told us. So she drew up the false pictures of the incident. For sister's sake. Ichigo Sasaki was the one who made up a werewolf about our story. Now, words have been spoken aloud, the air in the room grows heavy with tension. Are you going to denounce the Sasakis? What would you do? Her pretty face twists. It's a hard question for her. Unlike me, Yagaki-kun, she seeks the truth. That wasn't fair, Sarah. It's fine. I think we should keep this a secret between us. What do you think? Is that okay? I don't think it's really a secret when more than 2 people know, but, well, I'm in favour. Not like there's anything to be gained from people knowing the real culprit. Essentially a Yagaki way of putting it, I accept her conclusion with a cynical smile, and Suoh can also nod decisively with expression deadly serious. Rika-kun and Takisaki-kun was story I told her, isn't it? They got no suspension lifted. Seeing them agree, I feel a weight lift from my shoulders. I'm cold. The coffee I take a gulp of when I finish my speech is lukewarm. I covered them up with the truth and threw together a stopgap solution. So feeling from Nariko Mikado even while dating Ringo Sasaki. Aoki Yagaki's encouragement and Suoh Shirahane's scolding forced me to acknowledge my buried emotions all over again. I'm lost. Please tell me what to do, Mum. I'm tormented by a feeling of powerlessness. It's similar to a lethargy which makes your bones have to fear long-lasting cold. My body refuses to do what I want, as though my flesh and blood have been replaced by a straw. Pinned down on my bed, this feeling of helplessness and pale haze clouds my vision. I say my best friend's name aloud. I hardly have the right to voice it after I became jealous when she moved on to someone else after rejecting her feelings. You saved me again. Jealous that another girl had stolen her from me, I have no indication even when Sasaki was ostracised. Even though I'd known she was suffering because of it. Not bother at all. We should be happy for him. My black heart hadn't even allowed me to utter those simple words. So my inability to forgive had pushed her to incriminate herself. Werewolf about Tower incident. No doubt it was Ichigo-san's idea to make up a story in order to save her sister. For what I am, I became tormented with regret only after things had finally been set in motion. Because I hadn't wanted to forgive her with Sasaki's to bear a sin of falsehood. The incident blew up when at a meeting in the Council of Nicaea, I watched as usual her dressed us, wondering if she had intended to do a crime and judged for it. Where whenever resolve a martyr, she would conclude by taking up her guilt herself. However, because I was a coward, I didn't confess to the crime myself out of some noble idea of self-sacrifice. I wanted judgment with my own selfish jealousy. During my suspension, at first I felt like I'd been delivered. But time stretched on, and in myself to his company, I started to wonder if, when it became widely known I was the one who attacked her, Visitor psychics would suffer like me. The clever twins would surely realise where I was coming from. They too would become tormented by the knowledge of their sin. I was plunged into anguish once again, but that was when Yuzuriha saved me. I was recalled her words back in his neck. It may have been more sophistry, but it was ultimately a kind lie, uttered to spare people pain. I went along with it. With great effort, I rolled back onto my back. Looking at the dim ceiling, I recall how when we were young, I was the one who protected her. Slowly closed my eyes, retreating to childhood memories. Moving to my mind is the complete opposite. It's me confined into my hospital bed, frozen by disease, or suffering from potential life-threatening illness. Words I received from Yuzuriha's mother had transformed me into a timid, cowardly little girl. Even in front of Yuzuriha, who still came to visit me every day, was showing my wretched self who had influenced her to depend on me. At the same time, I also harboured guilt over how much I enjoyed the fact that Yuzuriha still depended on me. Get better soon. I'll take care of you now, Neri-chan. She clasped my hand encouragingly. In my newfound cowardice, I didn't continue to face her with a shadowed smile and only encourage her protective instincts. Good actions and pleasant ways are what makes us lovely to our companions. I remember those words from Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz in coming to that hospital room. If that's the case, it must really be quite ugly. After a narrow escape, I had my suspension lifted. Why did Yuzuriha still love me? My long spell in the hospital, the time it gave me to contemplate who I was, returned to school with none of my former vigour. A shell in my former self, I became a target of bullying. I won't let anyone hurt you, Neri. Yuzuriha-san swiped out her mask of timidity. What of extroversion? She protected me just like I had once protected her. So we had been switched places. She transferred in. She was a forlorn one. Sweet timid Yuzuriha become strong in order to protect me. Seeing her shielding me today, once again, it set my heart aflame. Is this love? Definitely feels like it. And yet, you don't really think of Yuzuriha-san as your friend, do you? Make it was a lie, but please, promise my Yuzuriha. That desperate plea from a sickbed. Her mother's voice has scratched my insides, like something clawing my way out of the deep well. There's no salvation. Catching my fist at a leap, repeating a small voice, as though trying to convince myself there's no salvation. There's a children's story called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. At a wizard's request, Dorothy and her friends set out to kill the wicked witch for West. After overcoming many trials and tribulations, they succeed and seek to have their wishes granted in exchange, only to realise that the wizard is a fraud. You can't give a Tin Woodman his heart, nor a Cowardly Lion his courage, nor a Scarecrow his brain, and of course he can't send Dorothy home. The wizard gives the dependent group what they deserve in the form of a kindly lie. For a Scarecrow, a head full of wheat bran. Tin Woodman, a heart of silk. The Cowardly Lion, water infused with courage. For through their adventures with Dorothy, they had already gained in turn a head to think with, sympathetic heart, and the bravery to face any danger. Harry's sophistry did not return Dorothy to Kansas. Her friends made every effort to get her back, until they learned of one who might be able to do it, Glinda, the good witch herself. They survive an attack from fighting trees, pass through a dainty China country, make their way through a chalk forest inhabited by giant spiders until they finally arrive at Glinda's castle. Lydia Goodwitch. After saying their emotional goodbyes to the Tin Woodman, Scarecrow and the Lion, Dorothy returns to Kansas. Upon coming to the end of the tale, I felt jealousy. Jealous of this girl who had a home she could so strongly wish to return to. Moving so many times, I had nowhere I could call home, nowhere to return to. Home didn't even have to be a place. A person would do, but I... What begins now is a tale of a girl searching for a place to return to. Chapter 6. The Silver Slippers. Documents relating to clubs were on my shelf. Everything to do with ceremonies can be found in this drawer. And I will be found in the next episode. Bye bye.